Good morning, viewers, and welcome to another Onside SA Soccer Show. Joining me again and for the entire AFCON competition is our Manning Rangers League winner, Gavin Radford. Gav.
Morning, Budge.
Good to be here. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, knockout stage of the AFCON, and Bafana are there.
Yeah, well, we predicted that they would finish third in the group, and we're hoping that they would get the qualifier to get through. They've done that, so let's try and support them further.
Yeah, I thought they deserved to go through. A little bit unlucky in the last game against Morocco. Bad header. They fought hard, even though Morocco made a lot of changes, but deserved to go
just
through.
A little bit of concentration at the end of the game. They were right in the game for the point. You can see they went out for the point. What's a little bit disturbing is that they're not getting enough chances to win a game. They seem to be playing on the back foot all the time and hoping that something's going to happen. But they're through, and that's the main thing that counts.
Yeah, that's the main thing. We got through, but unfortunately, playing the hosts won't be easy. We're going to cross over to our London studio now and speak to Stevie Brom. Steve, good morning.
Morning.
How was
Morning,
it?
Gav. Good.
Good. All right, Steve. Let's crack on because we've got a busy schedule. We'll keep Paul happy. This first call: Spurs signing Lyon's Ndombele, 60 million.
Yeah, look, I mean, they've obviously showed a lot of intent. They want to sort of get cracking on the transfer sort of market early. There was a rumour that United were sniffing around a few days ago, so whether that was true or not, but obviously I guess it made them make their minds up and do the deal early, which I think that's what they're looking to do, is to get one or two good players in and so they can hit the ground running for their pre-season.
Yeah, I agree. They've got to. I just worry about the salary scale. How do you think that's going to play out?
Well, I mean, Tottenham historically have resisted sort of paying high salaries, and I think, I wonder if that's one of the reasons possibly that Christian Eriksen has decided that he really wants to go, because he's been on a much lower salary than one or two of their key players. They've been reluctant to give new contracts early. So if you felt if they really wanted to keep Eriksen, they would have given him a new contract a year ago. But in my understanding is he's shown no signs of wanting to sign a new one, and he's been paid sort of way less than sort of Harry Kane and Dele Alli even. So you can understand it. But I think if they want to compete and they want to stay sort of in those top four Champions League places, they've got to pay competitive salaries compared to some of the other teams now.
Yeah, I agree. I see Man City made a signing, Rodney, a slightly lesser name, but 60 million, big signing for them.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they were very quick to pay out the release. He had a sort of relatively, I guess, compared to some, I mean, the 62 million was the release clause, and they didn't, my understanding was there was no haggling. They went straight in and paid the release. Pep, I think, made it very clear that he was on his radar. As we know, he likes to have two strong players in every position, and he's had a good season for Atletico as a holding midfielder. So there's a lot of changes there at Atletico. I mean, there's big money sort of moves in and out. So they've obviously decided, even though they had a good season last season, sort of runners up to Barcelona, but there's a lot of changes there as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Joao Felix, 111 million for a 19-year-old. That's crazy money.
It is crazy money. I mean, they obviously see him. I understand they've offered. He's been given a 7-year contract. They obviously see, in the future, a lot of good things. But he hasn't played that much. Scored a handful of goals, and for Portugal, when he played recently, he didn't really show that much. It's huge pressure. I think it's the fifth largest transfer of all time. For someone who is relatively unknown outside of Portugal. So, and I guess they're obviously thinking, look, from their point of view, they're going to recoup that money from the sale of Griezmann. Yeah. So, I guess in that respect, and they feel they've got a player who's, many years younger.
Yeah, talking about big signings, Wilfried Zaha, 70 million. Crystal Palace won for Arsenal's target. Can that possibly be right?
Well, no. My understanding is that Palace have valued him even higher. They valued him at 80. I'm not sure they'll get 80. Arsenal evidently offered 45, which Palace were never going to sell him for that if they sold Van Bissaka for 50. But I think if Arsenal want him, and my understanding is that he's quite keen to go, they are going to have to pay there or thereabout 70 plus million. And I think that unfortunately that seems to be the going rate. And he's had he had an exceptionally good season for Palace. But then it makes you wonder, if I was a Palace fan, I'd be getting concerned because probably two of their standout players, Van Bissaka and Zaha going, obviously they will replace them, but maybe not in quite the same quality.
Yeah, now what's going to happen with Newcastle? Jose Perez, has that gone through, Steve? 30 million to Leicester?
My understanding is that he was going for a medical there. I mean, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it does make you wonder because Newcastle, I mean, he had a good second half of the season, and his goals are one of the main reasons why they sort of forced their way away from the bottom three.
Yeah.
But, with him going, Salomon Rondon, they haven't sort of secured him. They really are light up front.
Yeah.
So I think if I was a Newcastle fan, I'd be getting a bit concerned as to what's going on there, because unless they have sort of one or two players lined up, they're going to start their pre-season very light up front.
Yeah, and with Rafa going to China, who's the favourite to get that job, Steve?
Well, the papers the last couple of days have been saying that they, if it's to be believed, they want to try and entice Roberto Martinez.
Okay.
Whether or not he wants to go back into club football, but it's a big club, and there is a huge question mark for anyone going there as to whether or not whoever brings them there is still going to be owning the club in the short term, and whether or not they can give any assurances as to strengthening the squad, because there's no question they do need strengthening. I mean, they had a good second half of the season, but the squad is still light compared to a number of others.
Yeah, I agree. On to David De Gea, 350,000, 150. That's madness.
It is, but I think part of the issue, as we've said before, is that by paying Alexis Sanchez so much, they have made a rod for their own back. So anybody going there, or anyone who is there, who they want to keep, you can understand their agents are turning around and saying, well, look, if you're paying this to a player who can't even get in the team most of the time, you want my goalkeeper, or someone like Marcus Rashford has just signed a new contract, they're going to have to pay. Now, that is really going to hurt them, because, financially they're going to start paying all their big names they want to keep, and to entice, they're going to have to be paying them sort of upwards of sort of 250,000.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But they just got to clear the deck. There's several players that are there, been there too long, Steve, and they're also on over 100. So I'd rather give De Gea that, because at least you can sell him for 80 million and recoup most of the increase.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the other one, the other transfer that seems to be dragging on is Lukaku. I mean, they made it fairly clear that he didn't necessarily, fall in their plans, but Inter Milan just haven't got the wherewithal to buy him outright for the sort of money that United want to recoup the money they paid for him. Well, I think they need to be realistic that they're probably unlikely to do that, apart from the fact that he's older and he hasn't really shown the sort of form that they would have hoped. So I think someone paying sort of 70-odd million for him, I think, is probably a bit fanciful.
Yeah. Marko Arnautovic caused trouble last year at West Ham. I see he's up to no good again. What's the latest on that?
Yeah, I mean, his brother is his agent, and he's accusing West Ham of almost kidnapping him. I mean, it is crazy, because at the end of the day, he's under contract. But you just think if he obviously isn't happy there for whatever reason, he wants to go to China, and again, you assume he's going to be offered crazy money when he's there. West Ham are playing hardball and saying, they demand a certain fee for him. They understand that the Chinese team have offered about 20 million, which they say is not enough. But, it must be disruptive, obviously, to have someone like that who, in both transfer windows has said he wants to go. They can't see any point in them trying to convince him to stay again. The fans aren't going to be happy.
No, sure. The only problem is all these clubs going in for strikers, they're going to have to pay 40, 50 million to get a decent replacement, Steve.
Well, I think that's part of the issue, and they have been after. Sort of, we know Maxi Gomez, the Uruguayan player from Celta Vigo, but again, I was reading that Valencia now in for him, and he might prefer to stay in Spain. So unless West Ham could offer him considerably more money, I think they could miss out there. They were linked loosely a week or so ago with Mitrovic. Whether or not he would be the right sort of player for them, I don't know. But they do have a bit of an issue, because if Arnautovic goes, obviously Andy Carroll has gone. Perez has gone. They have got a shortage up front.
Yeah. Okay. Now Frank Lampard, is that going to be confirmed shortly?
Yeah, my understanding is it's going to be very, very soon. I mean, he's already, evidently he was being photographed at Stamford Bridge yesterday. So for whatever reason, it's not sort of been publicly announced, but I think it's going to happen either today or tomorrow, because Chelsea fly out next week. So starting one of their pre-season tours, and I think they need to get him in place. So I think that's going to happen in the next day or two.
Okay, and there's still no news whether they're going to be banned from competing?
As things stand, the ban is in place.
Okay.
So I think for the moment we have to assume yes, there is the ban. I mean, they managed to get round it with they signed Kovacic from Real Madrid, which they were able to do. They had to do it before the 1st of July, and they agreed the deal on the 30th of June and agreed the fee. They couldn't haggle; they just had to pay it. So obviously they've got him in now full time, and then as we know they've got Pulisic, and otherwise it's just going to be the squad that they had, the same squad. Although it is going to be without Higuain, as we know, and it's likely that Morata doesn't want to go back, so they will have to start with a little bit sort of lighter up front.
Okay. Steve, changing course, Brazil 2, Argentina 0. I watched the YouTube highlights last night. Controversy with the second goal. Aguero thought he should have a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, this is, look, you're going to get that. I mean, when I saw the stats, I saw the highlight. Argentina had a lot of chances.
Yeah, they did.
Hit the woodwork a couple of times. I think Brazil have just got this sort of Indian sign over them. Argentina haven't beaten them in a competitive game, in a tournament game for many years. And they set up a final now against Peru, which I think was a bit of a shock. The first time they've reached the Copa America final for over 40 years. I mean, they played each other just a couple of weeks ago, and Brazil beat them 5-0 in the group. So you sort of think it's going to be fairly one-sided, but it makes a change. I mean, they played Chile in the last couple of finals, so so I think that was a surprise. So say Peru have been in the doldrums of South American football for some time. So good luck to them.
Yeah. Steve, we got the AFCON knockouts Friday to Monday. You catch any of the games?
Yeah, I've seen sort of bits. I mean, I think, unfortunately, as you know, when you watch sort of the group stages of these tournaments, when you get to the point where, teams sort of know they're going through, I've sort of watched a couple of sort of dire 0-0s, but I think it starts to hot up now, and obviously with the knockout stage, it becomes more interesting. So, and all the big names are still there. So, one or two shocks. I was, I've never really sort of seen Madagascar. I don't think I've seen Madagascar play before. So, I think they've surprised one or two teams. Yeah. So, I'm still, I went with Senegal. I'll still hang my hat on. They weren't overly convincing the other day, but they should get through against Uganda. And then obviously, I think they might be scheduled to play Egypt. So at some point, so that could be a tough game.
Yeah, and last but not least, Steve, England's ladies team, that was cruel, the penalty miss.
Yeah, I mean, it was, just before that, obviously, we thought they'd equalised, and then VAR, really marginal, and then the penalty, it was, whether it was or it wasn't, I mean, VAR gave it eventually, but it wasn't a good penalty, and it always makes me wonder when none of the forwards step up to take it, and it's left to the captain or centre half. The USA on the whole were too strong, but I thought England gave them a good game in the second half. But there is just something about the USA team that they don't make themselves that popular with their behaviour. But they are the best team of the world. But I think as a European, I think it'd be nice to see Holland beat them. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think with the big clubs in Europe investing money, the gap's narrowing. So the next World Cup, I think, will be a lot different.
Yeah, well, you see, I mean, look, if you think 3 of the 4 teams were European in this time round, so I think a lot of people thought that, especially when I think the USA scored early against England, you thought, this could be, there could be a lot more. But in the end, the USA were resorting to some time wasting tactics. So I guess. They can hold their heads up high, but we're good at losing in semi-finals, so it's and missing penalties. So what's new,
All right, Steve, you're going to go semi-finals. Your England cricket team there. You're going to try and get semi-final.
Not the semi-finals, but a final would be nice if we could get there. But the tickets all sold out a long time ago. But it's they having sort of given themselves a lot to do. They've played very well the last couple of games, England. So it's looking like it will probably be India again at Edgbaston, where they beat them on Sunday. But I think that will be a much closer game. At the moment, I think it could be any one of. I mean, to me, the form teams look like Australia. They just they just seem to know how to win tournaments, and they're looking strong. I mean, New Zealand who look as if they'll scrape through now. I don't think it will be any of the other 3 now. So I think it's going to be the winners of England against Australia in the final.
Yeah, and just to let all your mates know that your key batsman, Jason Roy, is a Durban boy.
Absolutely.
Born in Durban,
No. Yes, and there was a time when, half half the England team was South African. But no, I mean, England missed him when he was out injured. I mean, I watch him regularly because I go and watch Surrey play, and looking forward to the T20s in the next month or so, and hopefully he'll be there scoring runs again. So, in fact, I mean, like Surrey have had Aaron Finch and Jason Roy opening, so it's good to watch on a Friday night when they play in front of a packed house at the Oval.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. All right, Steve. Thanks very much, Steve. Have a good weekend. Speak to you next week.
Cheers. Bye, Buzz. Bye, Gav.
Cheers, Stephen.
All the best, Steve. That's Stevie Brahm, our UK man in London. Now, Gav, as we spoke earlier, AFCON knockout time. All kicks off on Friday. We'll get the odds up on the first game. We've got Morocco versus Benin.
Yeah, Morocco is my team, as I said from the beginning. I think they're a good side. I know they played within themselves the other day. They were looking just to get the point to go through without any injuries, made a few changes to the squad. Benin, a bit of a surprise package. They've also played well. I'm leaning towards Morocco to win this game.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Morocco.
I think there'll be a few goals in this game.
Benin have drawn their 3 group games, 6-10 Morocco. I agree, should be too good. Now, my boys Senegal, that's been my fancy. Haven't really been impressive. I know they beat Kenya. I think it was 3-0 late on. I think they should be too good for Uganda.
Yeah, I think the pressure came on the squad, and they just showed their quality at the end by just stepping up their game. I think they all took accountability for their game, their lackluster performances.
Yeah.
But 6-10 Senegal, good strike force, and that's the key to their game. High pressure game, then quality finishing at the end of it. Yeah,
I think they'll be too good. Now, Nigeria cost me a bet. I had them. They needed to draw or beat Madagascar to win the group. They got beat 2-0. I know they rested players. This is going to be one hell of a game.
This is going to be another war out there. I mean, Nigeria are a quality squad. I mean, they've made a few changes to their teams once they got their first win.
Yeah.
Then they went off the boil and got beat by a good Madagascar team. I think Nigeria will be too good for Cameroon. I didn't see Cameroon getting past the quarters. So I'm leaning towards Nigeria at 15-10.
Yeah, that's Cameroon is Clarence Seedorf's team, the famous Dutchman. They haven't conceded yet. So it'll be a tight game. I agree, Nigeria, of the 2 teams to go through, but under 2.5 goals looks the right play there.
Yeah,
for
100%.
Me,
I think the Clarence Seedorf has brought a bit of European-style defending to their game. Got them a little more compact, trying not to concede goals. I think that's the secret in Africa.
I think he's got a lot of respect too. Now, Egypt against South Africa, 5-10.
Yeah, I think this is the bet of the year. I mean, if you look at what's out there, I know we all sort supporting South Africa to get through. I mean, but We've done little in the last 2 games. I think we've had 2 shots on goal, which never really troubled the goalkeeper at all. Egypt in front of a hostile crowd. I think it's going to be packed. They've got everything in their favour. I think 5-10 is an absolute gift.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very hard for our boys. 17-10, Egypt to win by more than 1 goal. That's my play in that game, despite my staunchness. On to the second page now. We've got the team nobody knew anything about. I still don't know. Madagascar.
Yeah, we don't know anything about Madagascar. We said they were lucky they'd come and have a look and see where they're on the picking order.
Yeah.
But they've stepped up to the plate and topped the group and played some fantastic soccer. Also, again, some good players in the squad. I was really impressed with them. Good, strong, hard-running team. DRC flat to deceive. Madagascar, I'm looking to get something out of this game. Yeah. I think Madagascar could win this. 2-1, good value.
I think there'll be goals in that. The DRC, the only reason why they finished 3rd and went through is they beat Zimbabwe 4-0. Shame Zimbabwe's goalkeeper got injured. They put a youngster in, he had a nightmare. But they score goals at Congo. So, DRC, should I say. So, I think goals is the way to go. But I agree, of the 2 teams, Madagascar have been the most impressive.
Yeah, some good value. DRC seem to concede goals at the wrong time in games. Yeah. But again, they had to step it up to win, and they won convincingly. Yeah. We kind of gave Zimbabwe a small chance in that game, but they overran them completely. Yeah.
Now, the team I've been really impressed with is Algeria. Riyad Mahrez, he really is Player of the Year a couple of seasons ago, Man City guy. Now, Naby Keita, the Liverpool midfield player, is out. For me, that'll affect the game. I think 8-10 Algeria is a good bet.
Yeah, very good bets. I mean, Algeria really stepped up to the plate. They were like our 3rd choice in the picking list for the tournament. They've got some good players. Mahrez, everything goes through him. Yep. He's got some good players running off him. I think they are 8-10 very good bets against Guinea. Yeah,
I think they're a bit of an outsider. Well, I wouldn't say an outsider to win the whole thing, but they got quality. Now, Mali, their first game, Gav, they murdered Guinea-Bissau 4-1. I watched them draw 1-1 with Tunisia. A little bit disappointing. Ivory Coast started off against South Africa in a heat wave. They won 1-0. Didn't play, got beat the next game, 12-10.
No, I can't have the 12-10 Ivory Coast. There's just something missing in that team at the moment. There's a little bit of cohesionness that is not there. That's normally with that Ivory Coast team. They're normally quite a well-knit team.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Mali at 5-2 with a bit of value. There's some big, strong boys in the team.
Yeah.
They have a full go every time they go out and play. I know they were a little bit off the boil the other day, and they made 1 or 2 changes. At 5-2, I'll be leaning Mali in the draw.
Yeah, I think it's 7-10 win and draw Mali, Gab. So, I just think Ivory Coast were my outsiders. They turned it up the last game. Well organised. I just think Ivory Coast will sneak it. Slightly better players. I'd like Mali to go through. A lot of youngsters, but Ivory Coast, a lot of experience. But I wouldn't be taking the 12.
You want your seasoned professionals from the top leagues to start playing and performing. They know the importance of getting deep into the competition, so you need them to step up now.
Yeah, I think they'll do that, especially against a youthful Mali team. Now, Ghana, Tunisia, 2 teams that haven't really done that well. Ghana impressed. They won the last game 2-0. Tunisia, World Cup, they lost to England 2-1, last minute Harry Kane penalty. Fought hard against Belgium. 3 draws. Surely something's got to give.
Tunisia is one of those teams that they like to keep the ball, but they've got a lot of experience in the Champions League.
Yeah.
A lot of those players have played in the big clubs, have done well. Tunisia, a very good side. They don't give the ball away cheaply. They defend very well.
Yeah.
A Ghana team that I said was aging a little bit. I'm leaning towards Tunisia in the draw. I think that game could go to extra time.
Yeah, that Dinkum looks like 19-10. Now, we've put the next slide up will be the graphic for the knockout stages. And we'll go through it quickly. Gav and I have both done a little bit of prediction. We both gone for Senegal to beat Uganda?
Yeah, Senegal to beat Uganda. 100%.
Okay, we both gone for Morocco to beat Benin.
100% Morocco.
We differ the next. Madagascar, the DRC. I just got a funny feeling the Congo will turn up. You don't?
No, I don't think. I don't like the DRC on this game. I think Madagascar. I'm gonna run with them for a while. They've done exceptionally well in the tournament. We can support the underdogs.
Yeah.
I think they've really stepped up. No one knows about them, but I think they can get to the quarter semis.
Yeah, Ghana, Tunisia, likewise. Ghana just have a few big-time goal scorers, and Tunisia just seem to struggle. They struggle for goals this competition. I'm siding with Ghana. You disagree?
Yeah, I'm going Tunisia. I think Ghana have got the more physical players.
Yeah.
The Tunisians are more tactical in the way they play their game. This game could go to penalties. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Tunisia.
Okay, the next game I've gone Ivory Coast. Gab, you've gone?
I'm going Mali. I think Mali good value at the price here at 5-2. I think Mali to upset.
We both sided with Algeria to beat Guinea.
Yeah, Algeria, very good side. They'll get through.
Yeah, and have you got Nigeria playing Egypt in the quarterfinals?
100%.
Okay, and just to run through, we'll do the semis and finals next week because they are Saturday, Sunday semi-finalists. The quarterfinal gave our 2 picks, Senegal, Morocco. Obviously, I'm Senegal, you Morocco.
Yeah, 100% Morocco. 12-1 is a good value bet at the start of the tournament.
Okay.
I'm sticking with them.
And I've got the DR Congo against Ghana. I've got Ghana going through.
Yeah, well, I've got the Madagascar, Tunisia on my side, so I'm going to say Tunisia to go deep.
Okay, and the others I've got Ivory Coast, Algeria. You've got Mali, Algeria. Algeria going through.
Algeria definitely to go through.
Yeah, I agree. I think they'll be in the top. They'll be in the semis, and then Nigeria, Egypt, the big one.
Yeah, very good game. The support that Egypt are getting at home with the full house. The conditions are suited. I mean, they've got everything in their favour not to go all the way.
Yeah, I agree. So I've got Senegal, Ghana, Algeria, Egypt in the semis. On to the MLS, where we'll run through it quickly. There weren't any odds because there were 10 games played last night. So, sorry, Gav, I'll do the MLS. Sorry, guys, I'll just go through this quickly. I've got Philadelphia, who played Orlando City last night. They beat them 3-1. Had 2 players centre for Orlando. So Philadelphia can't beat them at home. Well, then I don't know. Cincinnati versus Houston. 2 terribly out of form teams. Cincinnati have lost 11 of the last 12, while Houston have lost their last 6 away from home, even though they're 4th in their division, but that's due to their home form. If Houston can't get a result against lowly Cincinnati, then I don't know.
There's another problem with these teams that they travel so far between cities to play each other that you get these upset results.
It's always the case.
But you're also getting a lot of quality players that are joining, and maybe at the end of their careers, and they're coming to help the American League, which has become quite competitive now.
You're right. Columbus versus Seattle. Seattle haven't won in the last 7 games against the Columbus team that haven't won in the last 4 at home. So if ever I was siding with a result there, it would definitely be the draw. Montreal, good things for the weekend in America. I think they should be too good for Minnesota, who've lost 4 of the last 5 games away from home. Sporting Kansas City, another team that are struggling. They've only won 1 of the last 5 at home, but coming against a Chicago team with Bastian Schweinsteiger in the midfield, they have the worst away record. They've taken 3 points from 9 away games. So if I was signing with a team, Sporting Kansas City and the draw. Los Angeles are the favourites to win the whole competition, and I think they'll be too good for Vancouver. They won 7 of the last game of their last 8 at home, and 12-10 Los Angeles to win by more than 1 goal. On the one betting side I saw yesterday is my idea of the result. San Jose going great, won 6 of the last 7 at home, and I think they should be too good for a real Salt Lake team who have only won 1 of their last 5 away from home. Atlanta, the current champions, they were thrashed last night 5-1, but they should be too good for a New York Red Bulls team who also got hammered. Atlanta have won all 6 home games this season, and I think they should be too good for New York. The final game is New York City, which is part of the Manchester City group. Their last 10 league games, they've won 7 and drawn 3 up against the Portland team who, while they score plenty of goals away from home, I think they're going to struggle. If we can go back, guys, just to the outright betting for the CAF, so we can just go through that to get the final thing. Gab, Egypt 32-10, Senegal 9-2, 7-1 bars. Interesting betting.
Yeah, 7-1 bar. I'm still sticking to Morocco. I took the 12-1, so I'm down to 7, a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
But the top 4 teams are looking like the teams that are going to fight it out. Yeah. Egypt with the crowd behind them at 3-1. I mean, they've drifted this slight drift out, I think, because of Algeria playing so well.
Yeah.
So 6-10 top 3 is a good bet if you're having a long-term bet, if you can call it. But 3-1, 33-10 looks like a good value bet for Egypt as well.
Yeah, I'm still on Senegal's case. I just think they'll turn up come the crunch. But 13-10 Algeria. I think they'll get to the semis. I think they'll give Egypt a good game. So that's my play on that type of. The second page, we've got Ivory Coast, Cameroon, Ghana, Tunisia, Mali. Any of those you think can spring a surprise?
Anyone who's going to spring a surprise will be Tunisia. I think they were the kind of team that will try and play for the draw. If they can't win the game, they'll try and take you deep into the competition, into a penalty shootout. Like I said, they've got a lot of experienced players playing in the Champions League. So that could be the surprise package.
Yeah, you're right. Especially if they get through that, they've got the winners of Madagascar and the DRC in the quarterfinals. So that could be your upset. You're right about that. On to our Soccer 6 exotics. And first one, I've gone 5 win and draws and a banker. I've gone Philadelphia Union, win and draw at home against Orlando City. I've sided with Houston Dynamo to win or draw at Cincinnati. I've gone the Columbus Crew to win and draw at home against the Seattle Sounders. I've banked Montreal Impact to beat Minnesota. I've gone Sporting Kansas City, win and draw at home against Chicago Fire. And I've sided with a home team, the San Jose Earthquakes, to win or draw at home against Real Salt Lake, 192. Our second Soccer 6 is a bit of a mix and match one. The first go bank at KR Reykjavik to beat RBV Vestmannia. That's an Icelandic league game. The second game is in Sweden. I've banked at Malmo to beat Örebro. I've gone the field in the Strata Reykjavik IFG Magni games. Likewise, the JV Tulevik JM Tamika game in I think that's Iceland as well. And the Russian Super Cup, I've gone the field with Zenit St. Petersburg against Lokomotiv Moscow. And the last one is Dynamo Brest. I think they'll be too good for Vita BSK. That's a Belarusian clash, 162. On to our Soccer 10. I've gone the field in the JV Tulevik JK Tamika game. I've gone Zenit St. Petersburg, win and draw against Lokomotiv Moscow. I've banked Dynamo Brest to beat Vita BSK. I've gone Philadelphia Union, win and draw at home against Orlando City. I've gone the field in the Cincinnati Houston Dynamo clash. Our second page, I've gone Columbus Crew, win and draw at home against Seattle Sounders. I've banked Montreal Impact to be too good for Minnesota. I've sided with Sporting Kansas City, win and draw at home against Chicago Fire, and ended with 2 bankers. Los Angeles to beat the Vancouver Whitecaps, and the San Jose Earthquakes to beat Real Salt Lake, 288. On to the difficult Soccer 13. I've banked IFK Gothenburg to beat GIF Sundsvall. I've gone ARK Stockholm, win and draw at Kalmar. I've sided with Sirius at home in the draw against Ostersons. I've banked Malmo to beat Orebro, Acropolis to beat St. Vikings. I've gone with Karlstad United, win and draw at BK Forward, and I've sided with the away team of Karlstad BK to beat Gefle. Our second page has Raninga, win and draw at home against Sylvia, and I've gone with Lujinskiel to get a positive result at Christianstad. I've sided with Tavakis to win and draw against Landskrona. I've banked it at Sigtons to beat at Wittenberg, and I've gone Norrköping, win and draw at home against BK Häcken, and I've banked at Hammarby to beat Falkensburg, 435. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. I've started off with the AFCON goals/outright market. I've gone over 1.5 goals in the Egypt, South Africa, Madagascar, DR Congo, Mali, Ivory Coast fixtures, and I'm still with Senegal, 9-2 to win the competition, 3,800 to 200. My AFCON treble is Egypt to beat South Africa by more than 1 goal. I've gone both teams to score in the Mali-Ivory Coast game, and I think Algeria will finish in the top 3, 2,600 to 200. On to my MLS quad. I've gone Los Angeles to beat Vancouver and New York City to beat Portland, both by more than 1 goal. And I've gone Atlanta to beat the New York Red Bulls and Montreal to beat Minnesota, 2,500 to 200. On to Sweden, where I've sided with ARK Stockholm to beat Kalmar. I've gone Djurgårdens to win at Eskilstuna. I've gone Helsingborg to win or draw at Elfsborg. And I've gone Malmo to score in both halves against Orebro, 3,200 to 200. My both teams to score sides this weekend, I've gone IFK Gothenburg, GIF Sundsvall. I've gone Elfsborg against Helsingborg, Norrköping and Häcken, Sporting Kansas City and Chicago, and I've gone New York City and Portland, 2,800 to 200. And our Collis King 6 or Nixa, I've gone Algeria to beat Guinea, Egypt to beat South Africa. I've gone Hammarby to beat Falkensburg, Djurgården to beat Eskilstuna, Los Angeles to beat Vancouver, and New York City to beat Portland, 3,200. Gav, I know you like a punt. What's on your agenda?
Well, my bet for the weekend is going to be Senegal and Egypt. I think both of them are looking to go deep in the tournament.
Yeah.
So at 6-10 and 5-10, I think it's a nice double for the weekend.
Yeah. Now the lurkers there, Gav.
Well, the lurker would be Algeria. If you want to add that Algeria to your bet, I think that could be the way through. Or go with Tunisia. Then they could go deep. If they get through the next game, they can go deep in the tournament.
Yeah, my best bet of the weekend is 8.5 to 10 Algeria against Guinea. Guinea without Naby Keita are half the team. Riyad Mahrez has been found form, and I was really impressed when Algeria beat Senegal. I thought they looked a really good team. So 8.5 to 10 is my best bet, and my best value bet is ARK Stockholm. 15 at 10, good away form, even though they've been out of form at home. I think they'll be too good for a Kalmar team struggling at home and have only won 1 of the last 8. So 15 to 10, ARK Stockholm for me. Thank you for watching our on-site SA Soccer Show, Gav. Thanks again for coming in.
Yeah, pleasure, Butch.
Until next week, stay on side.